Cool. So it's Kamal Hart on the chart. I just want to take us through a bar by bar review today. Uh, my computer's gonna overheat quick, so I'm gonna try to be speedy about it. But where I got my cursor here, that's 620. I'll probably show up to the charts around like 615, and that's only a few bars back. It was kind of slow this morning, so we have a little congestion area up here. So first thing I see, if I was pulling up this morning, I'd probably go from here to there. I'm looking for my trend channel line. Probably that looks pretty good up there, something like that. So now let's wait and see what happens. And I'm going to take off my numbered bars so you don't feel, so you can't see ahead of the price action like you can see over there where it's going. So let me just take that off real quick. Okay, there we go. Cool. So we got a big doji bear bar. Everything's moving higher, so I want to find a way to get long, even though it's so tempting to go short here. I've been burned so many times trying to get short in markets like this that I'm not even interested. But some of those preliminary things that I would do is maybe measure this leg, and then I'd bring it over to the low of that leg, and you can see how we have a measured move. And once we got that measured move, we start to get some congestion. So that's a good sign. So from there, let's see what happens. Still some downward strength. Okay, we have our first entry. I'm not too interested going long there. That's not a great signal bar, pretty much like a doji bar. We're not that close to the EMA, and we're definitely not off our trend channel. In fact, when we come off the high line, we're expected to come to the low line, and when we touch the low line, we're expecting to come to the high line. So really, I'm sitting on my hands until we at least get to my EMA, and I need a nice signal bar. So we let that go. I don't see anything I like on that one. It's okay. It can definitely go without you, and that's no problem. You don't need to get every trade. You just need to get the right ones. Um, Now we're getting some congestion up here at the top. So, don't be surprised by swing higher and a reversal, or, it could just fall and break out pullback. But still, I'm really not interested in going short. So I could care less about anything that sets up here. We're still kind of going higher. Big bear bar. Let's see. Okay, now we're getting some momentum downwards. Good. So we're at the EMA, but a break above this bar, even though it's a good signal bar, is our first entry. See off the high, no bar breaks above, no bar breaks above, no bar breaks above. So this is only a first entry. Let's see if we can get a second entry. So a break above, a pullback, and then this next attempt, and hopefully that comes off the our trend channel line. You see how this upper line is touching? That's a good sign. Okay, and see how that breaks below. So now we're on second entry watch. Oh, okay, and then now prices broke below our original point. So that's fine, but we're still looking for this second entry. Now we're finally touching our channel line. So I'm looking for a long here soon. Okay, we got a small doji. And then if you would have looked at this, let's zoom in so y'all can see it. This one broke above. So that would be our signal bar. Well, that would be our second entry long, right? So off the high, coming down, first entry, came down, second entry. When this happened, you obviously would not have known how it's going to close. But a clue is that look at your signal bar. That's a doji. That's not a strong bull signal bar. When that bar broke above, I wouldn't want to go long there. That's not a strong sign of upward momentum. So that would have kept you out of that trade. If you took it, it's fine. You probably need to have your stop one tick below the doji, or more realistically, your stop is probably one tick below this bear bar, which you're taking some heat, but um, you can just exit here or just let it play out. It's kind of up to you. Um, and then here we go with a trade that I like because it's not quite a second entry, but it is a higher low. So we have a low that's lower than these lows. We broke above it once, it came below, and then we have this nice signal bar. We have this huge uptrend. We're breaking outside our channel. I'm expecting prices to come test my high of the day. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a buy. And that one works pretty well. And then here you get another, really I would say another higher low. It's not quite a failed second entry because we have a low, break higher, low, break higher. Yeah, it's a failed second entry. So I would also take that trade long. So I'd buy right there. So if you're not like on this trade, I had already bought and got off half of my contracts. I would have maybe added on a smaller lot, or you could go full lot. It's up to you. And see if it comes up to the top. So I'd maybe add on there carefully though, because don't want to take a double loss. And we get a doji. You get to exit at least your scalp portion of the trade, and now we're seeing a big red bar. It's uncomfortable to see this red bar, but all of our momentum is higher. So I'm still just going to have my stop one tick below this signal bar for my first lot, and then probably break even. Well, one tick below for the second trade. For my add-on trade, I'd have my stop one tick below this signal bar. And then for my original trade, the first one, I'd probably be at break even or break even plus one. So it's pretty much the same spot for both trades where my stops are. Okay, starting to get some congestion up there. That's cool. It's whatever. Boom. And then we get this is a first entry to the high, and it's a lower high. It's a failed break lower from here, and a double bottom right there. See how those lows are on the same place. This trade is going to be a little bit aggressive to take. If I wasn't already in these trades and stuff, maybe I would have taken that. I actually exited a little early. I didn't want to lose too much money because I had two lots already going, so I exited right there. But had I not of, I mean, this would have been a great sign, and at least to touch our high of the day. And if we're looking maybe for a bigger target, I could take that measured move, because I'd be like one. I mean, that only gets you a couple more ticks higher. Of course, there's a much bigger leg of this, and if I was going to measure this leg, I probably would have started it down here, more around here, maybe even that low. But you can see that one gets you way up here somewhere. So we'll wait on that one. But for now, a reasonable target is at least to see if we get this move up. And quite easily, in fact, you get that move. So, I mean, depending on how you manage your trades, you're probably done for the day. These are 3 fairly easy trades unless you entered there. You have to ride the pullback, but it never came back to get you if you had your stop in the right place. So, boom, it'd be what? 7:16 Pacific time. So that's not a bad day. but let's keep going. So we're at the highs. It's always a little bit of a challenge finding trades in this point of the cycle, because if you want to keep the full day context in mind, we have this uptrend, we had a break outside and two legs to a new high. So we're expecting a reversal at some point, or maybe a range. I mean, and it could definitely keep going higher, but it's just, it's risky going long, and you're really going to need a nice setup to justify longs um, for the next little bit. So let's see what happens. We see our little congestion area. You see how this bar is overlapping that bar, overlapping that bar, overlapping that bar. So we have some congestion. So, you know, a break below, maybe we'll go long. But I'm not looking for shorts on the highs. See our uptrend. I'm not looking for any shorts today. So we got the little break below, inside bar, and then that one just kind of went off without you. There's not really, I mean, it's a second entry. If you really look at it, you can see that we have these matching highs, these three matching highs, a lower lip. It broke above, reversed, and that would be our second entry. But kind of like what we said back here, that's not a great signal bar. So I wouldn't feel pressed to go long there. And plus, I mean, the highs are, you don't even have enough room to get your scalp, right? Because usually you need prices to tick through. So if you're going for 4 ticks, you need 5 ticks to make sure you get out. And sometimes you'll get out with 4 ticks, but to be safe, you're going to need 5. It gave you it regardless, but I'm not pressed about going long there at all. Let's see. Let's see what else we got. It's going higher. I think what I am interested in, though, is it's a little flat, but maybe there's a second trend going on. I don't really like it yet, but you know, you can see that there's, like, off these lows, there's something there, right? There's something there. Doesn't really fit that well in my opinion, but there's a little smaller channel going on there. So let's see if we get some longs off our lower channel. Ooh, this little inside bar, second entry. See those double highs. It's a terrible signal bar though. I'm not really interested in going long there. And see, look, that broke above and reversed. That broke above and reversed. So that would not have been the trade we're looking for. In fact, low key, there's a failed second entry short right there that triggered. I'm not into it though. I'm not into it, but let's see if we maybe see a better trend channel. Maybe it's coming off these lows, right? So we can, let's take that down to 25% visibility, so it's not getting too messy. I just want the most important lines visible. Everything else can fade to the back. Okay. So I mean, very, very aggressive, and I wouldn't recommend it because you're going right into the EMA. But this is a short pattern. We had a new high, it broke below, tested the high, broke down, tried to test it again, and this nice reversal signal. You probably would have went short maybe 1 tick underneath this small green bar. Or you could maybe get a limit order right on this close of the red bar. And if you're using this trend line that I just drew, maybe your target is somewhere down here around this line. Yeah, that one works pretty well. Yeah, that worked pretty well. Pretty obvious one to see. Um, if you're aggressive and you understand the risk of taking that trade and in a market like this, then go for it. Otherwise, skip that and wait for a long. Um, that's an okay signal bar. First entry, second entry. You might go long there. It's kind of past already though. You want to look at this. So when we get matching highs, we count that as one high. So this is one high, first entry, second entry. It's off my trend channel line, so that's cool, but it's directly into the EMA, so I'm gonna wait. Maybe we'll get like a higher low. I'll feel a little better about the higher low trade. And that one would have came right there, the higher low. It didn't quite break. See, with higher low trades, right, you wanna, this is a higher low, but you wanna let the bar close and then enter on the close. As opposed to a failed second entry trade, you can just enter once it breaks below or breaks above. So on this bar, I'd wait for it to close. Our entry we want to get is somewhere back in here. Maybe if you get a limit order, you could enter at 30, 20, 50. But for the higher low trade, I think this one it didn't. It's there, but it didn't set up the way we want it to set up. So I would have skipped it. Maybe another trader would take that. And then, okay, so this is setting up our failed second entry trade. And like I said, with the failed second entry, it's different than our higher low. Once this trade ticks above this bar, these matching tops, we're in. So, and especially I like this one now because we're having, oh shit. Okay, sorry. There you go. It works. But here, let's really take it bar by bar so you can see. It You have this upward momentum. See this little micro trend here? Now I'm getting the upward momentum I want. We've had one bounce. Now this might be the second bounce. So a break above here and I'm in. And we have room to get out before the long, before our highs. So I like this if it sets up. Got a little inside doji. It's a little sketchy to me, but still we're looking for this micro trend to hold. And you can even like take it over. I usually don't bother, but I mean you can take that over like that, and you can see we have this nice little channel working up. Boom. So we broke above. Real time, once it broke above this doji, you would be in long, and then when it broke above there, you for sure in long, and maybe put your limit order. So I'll go ahead and put a buy signal there. Boom. And you're in. And the thing with this trading stuff, right, is like set a reasonable target for your day, hit your target for your day and be done, right? Like don't worry about taking every trade all day. You'll make mistakes during the day. So you really just want to hone in on taking the best three or four trades in the beginning of the day or when you first show up. And once you get that target, man, close the computer and go do something with your life. Come back for your review, but shit, like you don't need to hang around and take every single trade. There's no need to be too greedy about this. So, but I like this. This is a failed second entry short. you know, off the lows, tried to go lower once and it failed. It tried to go lower twice, it failed. And yeah, that one worked well. And of course, we just want to see it maybe come touch our upper line if we can get that. So your scalp, you've already scalped out. And then for your runner trades, let's see if we can get it to touch over here. To be more precise, or let's not say precise, but more methodical, I would measure this leg and then bring it over for over here and see what we get. And it doesn't look like we're going to get that at all, so no need to worry. You should have been out of that trade break even +1, and depending on how you managed it, you know, you might have gotten out sooner than that, but there wouldn't really be a reason to take a loss on this trade, obviously. You know, by that point you're definitely at 22.25, yeah, 24.50, yeah, so you know, you'd have been at break even +1. So on that last contract, that runner contract, you would have just made like $12. Cover your commissions or something. Okay, so now we got this really strong bear move. Let's see how it reacts around our line. So even though, and we got to remember, half of this game is that we already had this strong move, a break outside, and now it looks like we've had a couple legs higher. So like we're not going to be too aggressive going long, right? There's not really reasons to get short. But going long is the same thing as it was back in over here. It's risky going long. Our signal bar here is a doji. It's just a first entry. There's nothing I see there that's so great. You know, whether it works or not, that's not the point. It's about taking trades in a very thought out sort of way. So yeah, not getting a good signal bar. And then look there, we're getting some congestion. 1, 2, 3 body to body bar. So that's some congestion. So, you know, be on the lookout for breakout, swing ups, breakout, swing downs. This one just broke out. Big bar. Let's see what it does. So this is interesting. I like to make a new line when I see we swing past previous lows. So our past low was here, and now we've just swung past that low. So that gets me thinking that, okay, maybe we're reversing. So I want to get a line that touches as many of those bars as it can. And just for the sake of keeping a clean chart, let's take those lines down to 50. Boom. Okay. And then we can put another channel somewhere like there. Let's see what happens. Got a little touch, and it looks like it's breaking outside, and it broke outside our line. So we're for sure getting this a downtrend, and that's what we want, right? Let's go back to it. Channel up, break outside, swing to a new high, and now we're getting the reversal. So that's pretty standard. Let's start finding ways to get short back off of this line up here, and let's see what happens. So we finally get a swing. So let's see what happens if we move our thing down here and then cut the distance in half, something like there. Just for differentiation, I will make this a dot. It's no biggie, just to make it look nice. Okay. So we're bouncing off that line. Now we're coming back to our EMA. Okay, we got a nice reversal bar at our line. See our line that we drew up here? This is what we want to see. But if you go short right underneath there, that's just the first entry. Momentum is still bullish for the moment. Let's wait and get a second entry short or a lower high entry. So, okay, you got the break below. That's cool. And then you get the reversal. That's kind of what we're expecting. Then we're getting some congestion, right? Bar, bar, bar. One of them's a doji. So we're starting to congest. If we break above and turn below, that's a good way to enter short. And if we break below and then pull back with a reversal bar with a bear signal, that's another good way to get short. So let's just wait. Oh, look at that. We broke above it and then came all the way back down and close on the low. That's where I want to go short. And then if you look at this trade as well, the best trades are going to give you multiple reasons to enter. So let's talk about this. Off the low, we went up. That's our first entry. We went up. When it breaks below that bar, that's our second entry. That bar is happening right off our line where we want to come, where we want it off of, and it's coming off that EMA. So there's a lot of reasons to like going short there. The one reason why I'm not in love with this trade is that we're in this congestion, so it could move to like there, those lows, or maybe even that low, and then just reverse again and get stuck back in this little range. But that's one reason to hate it versus 4 reasons to like it. So it's a game of probabilities. You know, I'm going to go short there. That's pretty much all I can say about that trade. And of course, you know, just to keep giving yourself good targets. I mean, we have 2 legs there, so we can measure that. I don't want to move that one. I want to move this one. And that gives us a signal somewhere down in there. So, you know, for your runner trade, maybe you can have it down here and make it really worth your while. So, yeah, easily you got your scalp. And now we're getting some stack up. And that's what I mean, right? So see what happened. I mean, it broke out and then it came back. It's a little bit lower than what this range was up here, but it broke out and snapped back into this area. So, you know, you probably by then have your stop at break even +1, so you would have been out, commissions paid for. If for whatever reason your stop is still up here, you know, once prices start closing above the EMA, you know, something might be changing. But for now, prices are still below the EMA. So, you know, let's just see what happens. And then it went lower. Off this high, that's a higher low, but none of those signal bars are that great. And we had all the congestion. This is too big of a bar to enter down here. You're right next to these lows. You know, that one, you know, if you were still in this for whatever reason, then great. If not, that's cool. This was a decent trade. And that one keeps going. Here's a potential failed second entry long, right? Off the high, first entry, second entry. So if it breaks below there, it's a failed second entry long. I don't like it though. We're way, way too far from our trend line, way too far from the EMA. A lot of times I can just touch that, make a double bottom and snap back and reset and then finally go. So in general, just wait to go short off your line until you get a break above or a break outside and then a new low, and then you need to start to make new lines. But, you know, don't worry about going short in the middle here. It's nothing good comes from there. And it doesn't even break below, so you wouldn't have entered anyway. Here, you get a little entry. If it breaks below here, I'm not in love with it, to be honest, but I mean, you're close enough. So if it breaks below, you might be into that, and it didn't. So, but the trade is still in play because now that we have a little higher move, now we're touching our trend line, and we almost touched the EMA. So we'll just wait to see if we get that break below. And there you go, you get that break below on that next bar. You probably would have entered at 1350 or 1325. The 50 trade has already scalped out. The 25 trade, you are needing one more tick. So if it just breaks below, you're gonna scalp out of that trade, and you get it. And you get it. So, and look what I'm saying though. It never broke below here, so it's not quite relevant. But like all of my best trades are just when the prices come back to my trend line, and I take the trade off the trend line. Look at every single trade, and I do it bar by bar, so you can see the process of finding the trend line and the timing of waiting for it to just come back to trend lines and how effective. I mean, look, every time it touched, even though we wouldn't have taken that trade, every time it touched our trend line from up here, you got to trade, and those are pretty good trades. And we're almost going to hit our measured move, right, off of these first two legs. So let's see if we actually get down here to that measured move. Not quite. Looks like it's giving us some reversal signs. And we only go to 12, so we have about an hour, 15 minutes left of the day. So I like to, like I said, once prices start closing above the EMA, that's when I want to not necessarily look for longs, but I want to be careful going for shorts. This is our, you know, that's not a convincing breakout side, but maybe you would say, hey, it broke outside and it went two legs down, so it's going to reverse. That's totally possible. That's not super convincing though. But what I will do is manage this upward move by drawing a micro trend because we started below the EMA and closed above the EMA, and we also broke higher than a previous swing high. So um, let's see if we, with this smaller line, we like break out, new high, and reverse, and then that would be the overall reversal for this bigger channel. Um, and if not, we'll just read the price action until we see a trade that makes sense. See how it's just climbing right up against there? I said we're breaking out here, breaking out by this bar. Got a new high by one tick and it reversed. But this is, see this congestion, bar, body, bar, body, bar, body. So we're getting kind of congested. I'm looking for a breakout, pullback short, or possibly a breakout high and then fade it back short sort of trade. And look what it did. It broke out to the lower side, then snapped back into this little area. That's why we're not really big fans of going short in these congestion areas because it literally just touched the EMA and snapped back. It's kind of what you would expect. And then look what it did here. Took one tick higher and then gave this big reversal bar. But it's the same rule. Although this looks way better, it's kind of the same rule. We don't really want to sell out of this congestion area. One thing to notice though is that off this low, look how no bar breaks below. I can zoom in so you can see better. No bar breaks below, no bar breaks below, no bar breaks below. First break, and then right there, that's a second entry short. And we're expecting it to come test our low down here. But I'm going to wait for a higher low or something because this isn't a good fundamental trade. That's cool. It goes without us. That's fine. We don't really need it. I mean, by this point in the day, it's like 11:23. I mean, you've already had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 like pretty easy trades. So There's no need to force this little breakout of congestion trade. We get the higher low here, and so look, I mean, look exactly how this worked out, right? So look, that micro trend, we broke outside, pulled back, broke higher, reversed. And so here, just to keep myself on the right side, these little micro trend lines will keep you on the right side of the trade. I'm going to take this, and since we went from one side of the EMA to the other side of the EMA, and we made a lower low than the previous low, that's my micro trend right there, right? And then because on this higher low, we came to our EMA and then reversed strongly off of it, I'm going to even expand it so that now this is a slightly bigger trend happening, and do something more like this, and use this as my new guide, right? There's only like 20 minutes left in the day, 15 minutes left in the day, so this probably might not be too many more trades for the day, but you know, we'll see. Okay, we got the break above. So a break below is going to give us our failed second entry short. It's 11:53. So I would be done for the day, but let's just go to 12. See, we got a break below right there. You know, you can take this trade. I have an unfair advantage. I already know this one didn't work, but sometimes trades just don't work, and usually they don't work right around 12. Right around when the session ends is when you'll get these kind of failed trades. But just to be sincere about the strategy, I mean, this is a failed second entry. Um, a small clue that this wasn't going to work is that, see how it broke below and then closed back inside this other bar, this previous bar? You know, for whatever reason, the selling got spooked down here and the buyers took control. So if I would have entered and seen it do that, you know, that's my first sign that, oh man, at, at worst, I need to tighten my stop one tick above there, and just, you know, not give it more than I need to give it. Um, and it would have stopped you out. But let's talk about this now, because right here, then, now you have congestion, right? Body to body to body. See how each body is inside the previous body, from this green bar to the red bar to the green bar. So if you're in this trade and you see now this congestion, you know, I don't think you would have been able to get out, unfortunately, at break even. But, you know, maybe you just exit on the close there and say, hey, something is not the way it's supposed to go, so I want to exit this trade. Or you just leave your stop right there and one tick above, and it would have ticked you out. It would have ticked you out. And the funny thing about this trade is that it ticks you out literally by your one tick. But look at it though. You know, this is noon, right? So we're officially in what we consider our after hours. It's not necessarily after hours yet, but it's a second entry short. See this off the low. First entry, second entry. We're not going to take that because the signal bar is a doji. It's inside our congestion. We don't even like going short there. But the irony is that it does just enough to tick you out, and then it goes lower. Those are real bummers. You know, you're probably pissed off after taking that trade. It's understandable. Would you take this trade? I don't love it, just because once again we have a bunch of lows right there, and it's now, you know, 12:12. It's getting a little late in the day. So I would have waited on that, yeah, and if it would have failed on you. So, you know, if you would have took this trade, you really have to be okay losing this trade and not forcing it there, because, you know, you would have potentially lost this trade and then forced it here and then lost another trade, and now it's 12:30 and you really shouldn't be trading, but, you know, you're trying to make it back. And, you know, so man, that's why I said back over here. You know, I was done today by like 7:15, right? If I would have shown up maybe later or something, that would have made me take these trades. But right around 11:45, I'll go to 12 sometimes. But if you take this trade and you lose this trade, you know, this trade is valid, but it didn't work. And that's just the probabilities of trading. Nothing is 100%. But just because you lost a trade doesn't mean you need to force a trade that you shouldn't take, because that for sure, instead of being, you probably still would have had some profit on the day, honestly, because it wasn't that big of a loss or anything. So you would have had some profit on the day. Maybe you gave some back, but you take this trade and lose this trade, you're probably at a small loss now, and that's going to mess with your psychology. And just take your losses gracefully. When you show up tomorrow, there's going to be more trades, and you'll kill it, and you'll be fine. So that's what I saw today, bar by bar. I hope this is helpful. I just want to get into my own psychology of finding good entries, and hopefully show developing traders what to look for in the moment, at least as close to the moment as I could demonstrate, other than each tick. But that's pretty much what we got today. So I'm gonna sign off. I'll be trading tomorrow, and I'm gonna catch y'all then. All right, guys.